So, welcome to today's class. Today we will discuss about recruitment, selection, induction. What is recruitment? Recruitment is a process whereby we attract, encourage prospective candidates to apply. Here we have to make a difference between recruitment and selection. In recruitment, we are encouraging the students to apply for the positions reportedly available in the organization. So, it is a positive function. On the other hand, in selection, what do? We filter the candidates. We select the best fit. So, that is why selection is a negative function. Now, what are the objectives of recruitment? Why organizations recruit? First, every organization must have a talent pool of suitable candidates. Somebody might ask me, why? In today's world, where all other resources are either available, accessible, affordable, the only resource which could provide the cutting edge to companies is quality human resources. In other words, every organization must ensure that it has the right candidate at the right place at the right time doing the right job. Second, to reduce time and cost of hiring. So, when you have prospective candidates, you can conduct interviews and select them without causing any delay in recruitment. Third, to enhance the reputation. When prospective candidates and that too talented candidates apply, that shows the brand image of the corporation. Good. What are the sources for recruiting the people? You have internal sources and you have external sources. What is the internal sources? Promotion, assistant manager becomes manager, transfer, say one department to other department or to what I call another place. And nowadays, one of the most important internal source of recruitment is employee referrals. What is employee referrals? An employee of our organization refers a known candidate to the HR department. Second, external sources. Earlier, organizations used to focus on only employment exchanges, paper advertisements. But in today's world, you have job portals, you have campus drives, you have recruitment agencies, and you have social media. Sometimes we will be surprised to receive an interview call without even you formally applying it. What happens? They must have seen your LinkedIn profile and they must have shortlisted and invited you for an interview. What are the steps in recruitment? What sort of vacancy we have? Have we prepared the job description, job specification, so that candidates can check for themselves are they suitable or not? So, once you analyze the job, you prepare job description, detailing about the job and then job specification in terms of eligibility, skills required, etc. So, in recruitment, what are we doing? We are attracting the candidates through either advertisements or the different sources of what I call recruitment. Good. So, having encouraged the prospective candidates to apply, the second step is selection. As I was sharing, while recruitment encourages the people to function and a positive one, in selection, we filter the candidates. We select the best fit, the one who fits into the job we have on the hand. So, selection is choosing the most suitable candidate. What are the objectives? How the organizations undertake selection? Why they undertake? To predict which candidate will perform the job most successfully. We should not select a person who does not fit into the job or does not deliver the required results. Okay. What are the stages in selection? Number one, screen the applications or resumes. So, here what do? The organizations, they check with the suitability that has been specified in the job specification. and then say whether he can be taken for consideration to the next stage. So, there the organizations sometimes they may conduct a written test or an aptitude test or what I call initial interview, then what I call they may go for a telephonic screening. Nowadays, depending on the nature of the job, organizations might conduct some competency test to decide whether he fits into the job or not. Sometimes they may go even for psychometric test to know when behavior wise whether he what I call fits into the job or not. The latest trend in the light of faked resumes and faked responses, indulging in a detailed conversation with a candidate, because it is said that when you have a lengthy conversation with a candidate, there is every possibility of the candidate coming out with his true colors. Sometimes they might try to what I call hide some of their traits, some of their qualities, some of their behaviors to show as if they are fit for the job as such. So, hence organizations take a lot of care while selecting, because a candidate who is not suitable might prove to be a liability. He is going to be a recurring expenditure for the organization. As such, the organization in general, HR departments in particular, they what I call take lot of care in selecting the candidate. In the interviews, they may have one person or they may have a panel of interviews. These interviews might test the technical skills or the HR related ones or the behavioral one. Now, once the organization or the selection committee comes to a decision about picking up someone, they look for background verification. There is a possibility of candidates faking their resumes or their experience or behavior, whatever it is. So, organization check for their background, and then the final selection, the offer letter is what I call issued, and given some time to the candidate to report for duty. Excellent. So, in the recruitment, we are encouraging the prospective candidates to apply, and in the selection, we are selecting the best fit. Good. Here, we must what I call make a note of the difference between a manager and a great manager. A manager normally selects people based on skill, knowledge, experience, whereas great manager, they not only look at skill, knowledge, experience, but talent. Is he talented enough to deliver the what I call results? Good. What are the principles to be followed? Some guidelines while selecting the candidates, because a candidate once joins the organization is going to be part of the organization. So, we have to ensure that he fits into organization culture, philosophy, climate. So, certain guidelines, what are they? Number one, validity or reliability of assessment tools. In selection, we are assessing the candidate's suitability. The tools and techniques which we are using, are they standard? Are they reliable? Is there any scope for bias? 2. Fairness and non-discrimination. The selection committee must be fair to the candidates. There should not be any kind of discrimination. Third, job fit and culture fit. As we all know, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture is very important part of an organization. So, when selecting the candidates, the organization has to ensure that not only he fits the job, but he also fits into the culture. Organizations have to take extra care in encouraging those candidates who fit into our culture to apply and accordingly select those who really fit into their job, fit into our organization culture and deliver their what we call best. Why? Because today all other resources, you name any resource, technology, infrastructure, money, any other thing, they are all available, they are all accessible, they are all affordable. So, in a competition, what is the cutting edge? What is the difference an organization can make? That is only through quality human resource or talented human resource. That is the reason the organization have to take extra care in recruiting the candidate so that he becomes an asset to the organization in the times to come. Good. So, we have selected the candidates. What is the next stage? Induction. What is induction? Here we are introducing the candidate to the job and to the organization. He is new to the organization. So, he must be taken on a guided tour, exposing him to different departments, different operations, culture, etc. So, induction means initial framework only, paperwork, like he has to fill up his biodata, furnish his residential address, his particulars about the parents, etc., etc. Then there is something called orientation. What is orientation? It is a bit broader one, more comprehensive. We go into the details. And then we have onboarding, which includes both induction and orientation. Let us have a look at the difference between induction and orientation. Induction, we are introducing the candidate to the company and the work environment, because he is new to the organization. He does not know anything about the organization, what sort of culture we have. Whereas in the orientation, we are trying to align him with the position and the responsibilities. He must know what is that he is required to do in the job. He must know the work culture. Second, induction is always short duration, sometimes few hours, maximum is completed in a day. Whereas orientation, you are orienting the employee to your way of working. So, it is longer duration. It might take say 1 to several days. Induction is more informal, just trying to find out his background, his parents, collecting certain details about his residential address, bank account details, etc., some kind of that. Whereas orientation is more formal than induction. Induction comes first and orientation comes after. Having seen the difference between induction and orientation, let us have a look at orientation and onboarding. Orientation, as we said, is comprehensive. Onboarding includes both induction and orientation. Let us have a look at these two. Orientation is an event that might be conducted in a classroom or online, whereas onboarding is a process. What do you mean by process? A series of related activities, and this takes place at the workplace, maybe on the shop floor or in the office. Orientation is done in groups, like management trainees. You have recruited about 15-20 management trainees. So, the managing director comes to address them. On the other hand, onboarding is specifically for each individual, briefing him about the job, the responsibilities, etc., etc. Orientation takes few days, Onboarding 1 to 3 months, and sometimes it might take 1 year. Orientation is formal introduction of the organization. That means to the new employee, you are introducing to the organization, briefing him about the operations, the purpose, etc., etc. When it comes to onboarding, it's comprehensive, very detailed one. You are explaining him about the organization, the different operations. Like in a development financial institution, you might tell him about sanctions, disbursements, recoveries, etc., etc. In orientation, we provide essential tools and the information to carry out the job. How he should go about. Like in an IT company, the moment he joins, the new employee will be given a laptop, maybe an email, etc., etc., so that he can start doing his work. Here in onboarding, you assimilate the new joinee into organizational culture. As I was saying, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture. What is culture? The values with which the employees are connected to each other and connected to the organization. Am I part of the big picture? Does the employee feels being part of the big picture? I mean, part of the organization in terms of commitment, loyalty, giving his best. So, orientation is well formulated introduction to job, introduction to colleagues, seniors and organization. On the other hand, onboarding is a strategic process. What do I mean by strategic process? It is a focused one, wherein you are immersing the employee into organization in letter and spirit. He understands the organization, its purpose, its vision, its mission, how his work is related to the overall accomplishment of organizational objectives and its culture. So, onboarding includes both orientation and induction. Needless to say, organizations pay utmost care in induction, orientation and onboarding. Why? As I was saying, human resource, talented human resource is the only resource which provides the cutting edge to the organization. When an employee becomes part and parcel of the organization, he believes that this is my place, this is my organization, this is the place where I give my best. Then the organization grows, organization prospers. Fine. Having looked at the difference between induction, orientation and onboarding, let's come back to the objectives of induction. Why organizations focus on induction having selected the candidate? The most important objective is to assimilate the new employee, to make the employee understand about his job and about his role in the organization. Why so much care? There is a possibility of some employees not being happy with the organization, leaving them. No organization wants its talented employees to leave. So, what is the best thing they can do? They assimilate the new one, they imbibe, they involve the employee in organizational culture in such a way that he becomes part of it. So, induction plays a very important role. Like we heard about, the first impression is the best impression. I was told Amaraja battery systems chairman garu, he makes it a point to meet all the management trainees on the first day. What is a chairman has to do that? Because he is trying to establish a rapport with the future managers and make them understand what the organization stands for, the values, the culture. Fine. What are the components of induction? What do we have in induction? Welcome session. Nowadays, when we go to a star hotel to stay, they give you a welcome drink. So, this is also like that. You are welcoming the employee. Then, you are introducing the candidate to the vision, mission and the values. What is the vision? How the founder of the organization looks at the future of the organization. Whereas a mission is an action oriented statement. So, vision could be registering 15% increase in sales. Now, how this increase in sales has to be accomplished, that is a mission. The values, do we have a collaborative culture or do we have a competitive culture? Nowadays, the more and more emphasis on collaboration, because when we stop competing with each other and instead start collaborating, there will be celebration. Second, policy briefings. He is a new employee, so he must know what are the rules and regulations, what are the benefits he could be entitled to. For instance, some organizations, what do? On the first day of the new joinee, they give him a handbook, employee handbook. What is this employee handbook? Employee handbook contains all the rules and regulations. What are the benefits he is entitled to? For instance, when he can apply for a vehicle loan, when he can apply for a house building loan, like that, those are how he can withdraw his provident fund, etc. What are the HR policies, promotions? Next, role clarity and departmental familiarization. What do you mean by role clarity? When the new employee joins, he must understand what exactly he is supposed to do, how he works, his work impacts other departments. Second, departmental familiarization. He is an employee in a department. What his other colleagues do in the department and how the department contributes to the overall organization. Next, introduction to team members and key stakeholders. Familiarizing himself with his team members. Stakeholders, not only your employees, the vendors, the customers. Today, customer is the what I call most important. So, whether our employees are oriented to serve the customer better. Gone are those days when customers used to focus only on satisfaction. Today, the buzzword is customer experience. Next, assignment of a mentor. Is a new employee, might be a bit tense, bit nervous, not being aware about the organization, how it functions. So, what do? We assign a senior employee, a senior colleague, you can call him a mentor or buddy, so that he can guide him in terms of clarifying any ambiguities, etc. Benefits: when you induct an employee properly, briefing him, his morale goes up, he gets engaged and he gives his best. In recruitment, the organization first identifies the job, defines the job, specifies the eligibility, etc., and encourages him, the prospective candidates, to apply. Whereas in selection, we are selecting the best fit. So, we might conduct some tests to assess his competency, interviews, background verification, etc. And in the third induction, we familiarize the employee with his job, with his department and the responsibilities so that the job clarity is there and he gives his best to the organization. So, recruitment, as we have seen, is a positive function because you are encouraging the prospective candidates through your branding, because your focus is only on to encourage as many candidates as possible to apply. But in selection, you are selecting the what I call best fit. But there is a lot of change, like people say, lot of water has flown down the Musi river. Earlier, traditional, but today in a modern recruitment. Earlier, we used to either refer to employment exchange or advertise. Used to take a lot of time, and most of the advertisements used to be generic, not specific to select the particular individual we are interested in. The data at our disposal was very, very limited. But today, the recruitment is tech driven, data driven decision making. You have so many sources. You have online job portals, you have LinkedIn, social media, artificial intelligence tools, companies' websites. 24/7, you have a global reach. You are no longer local reach. And thanks to new tools like applicant, processing, the moment you advertise, you have applicant tracking system. Thanks to the artificial intelligence, it screens the candidates, conducts the eligibility test, etc., and hands over you the shortlisted candidates for conducting the interview. In other words, in the modern recruitment, you have more of interaction, more of what I call engaging. Unlike earlier, where the candidate has to go to HR department and find out particular details, now the organizations have chatbots. Like in the airport, instead of going to the counter and taking the ticket, you can have you have a chatbot where you enter the details and get the what I call ticket pass. Same is the case the organization. Because with the changing times and assessment of what I call technology, the organizations are using the modern tools, modern techniques, but all said and done, the focus is on recruiting the best fit in terms of culture, in terms of job, so that he becomes an asset to the organization, giving his best to the organization. Thank you.